Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing during the past weeks and months and even years, we're going to start this broadcast today with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. We'd appreciate if all of you would please rise at this time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to thank all of our military members, whether they be here in the United States or abroad. We want to also thank our allied military members, allied countries of the United States, whom we deeply appreciate all of their help and what they've been doing for their own countries. We want to thank them for the service as well. God bless all of our military members, no matter where they might be, that they might return home to their families after their tours of duty end. God bless you guys and gals. We love you very much. And thank you again for your service. During the past 3 days, we've talked about the emergency going on within the United States, which is also going to affect the world. Again tonight, Friday, October 25th, we've talked before about October surprises. During October in previous years, the Democrat Party has been known for, quote, October surprises. Well, guess what has happened? The Democrat Party continues to to open up surprise boxes for all of us. Yesterday we reported a surprise in Edina County, Minnesota, where a courier that brought in absentee ballots opened up the back of his vehicle and left it open, with 12 cases of voter ballots inside. Edina County said that the voter boxes were not tampered with, that they were left sealed. In those ballot boxes, absentee ballots from around the world were cased inside those boxes. That was number one. The county has said that nothing had occurred fraudulently, except that the car had been left open, that anybody in that area could have tampered with that box. However, nothing's happened so far, and they fired the courier that did it. Now today, more ballot anomalies have come forward. Major voter fraud has been found out also in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Lancaster County is where President Trump was just earlier this week. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Officials in Lancaster County in the swing state of Pennsylvania said they have identified hundreds of potentially fraudulent voter registration ballots. Incredible. Incredible. When is this going to stop? When is this going to stop? When is it going to stop? Ballot issues in Pennsylvania. Here's the article that exposed the problem. Most of the applications were dated since October 15th this year, and a majority of those applications were from Lancaster City. Adams, who is the city manager, said in some cases the applications contained correct personal identification information, meaning whoever filled out these applications had picked up information either from the internet or information from collecting it personally from people and fraudulently entering this information into voter applications. Incredible. Including driver's license numbers, dates of birth, and social security numbers as well. But the individuals found on the applications informed detectives that they had not requested the application. They had not requested the absentee ballot application. They did not complete the form. And they verified that the signature on the application was fraudulent. It was not belonging to the person whose name was on the application. Pennsylvania and 9 electoral college votes are crucial for the Donald Trump or the Kamala Harris campaign. It's absolutely mandatory if Kamala Harris is to win this election that she wins Pennsylvania. Without winning Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris has no promise. The Keystone State is one of the hubs of unfounded voter allegations in 2020. And now it's happening all over again in 2024. Yet the Democrat Communist Party has said there were no irregularities in the 2020 ballot procedure in the voting. And yet here again we're finding out information just 12 days out from the election. 12 days out from the election. It took 4 days to finish counting the ballots to declare President Joe Biden the winner of the state due to the county requirements in the state. Incredible. Incredible. And yet we've already found allegations now of fraud. And this is in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. How much more fraud is going to be found in Pennsylvania? Probably a lot. Probably a lot. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of it, guys. Incredible. Incredible. It doesn't stop there. This afternoon, we have also found rampant voter fraud in California. Massive voter fraud in California. Unreal. Just in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, in the swing state of Pennsylvania, authorities have identified hundreds of potentially fraudulent voter registration applications. At least 60% of the ballots found so far, have been fraudulent. Fraudulent, guys. George Rashada is here from California. And now we've heard that there's massive voter fraud in California. Suspected fraudulent voter registrations forms were dropped off at the Board of Elections office in 2 more batches, at or near the deadline for submission. Incredible. There are approximately 2,500 voter registration applications in these 2 batches alone. It's been found that voters in Lancaster, Pennsylvania had not applied for those application ballots. Yet though their private information was already stolen and put on those ballots, and fraudulent signatures were also put on the ballots. It's unclear how many of the applications in the 2 batches were allegedly to be fraudulent, but already 60% have been found to be fraudulent. Again, in Pennsylvania, for the 2nd presidential election alone since 2020. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the electoral board stressed that the county elections are secure and that the flagging procedure for potential fraud is working. It indicates that the system's worked. Republicans are leading Lancaster County already. Republicans are leaning all over Pennsylvania. Yet the Democrats are fighting for the state. And like I said, if the Democrats don't get Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris has no chance of winning. The statement said concerns were raised during the staff's normal process to review and enter applications in a state database, and law enforcement authorities have been alerted. In a news conference today, Lancaster County District Attorney Heather Adams said numerous applications have appeared to have the same handwriting or other details. Numerous applications with the same handwriting, like addresses that appeared incorrect on some applications. Adams said the investigation is ongoing and wouldn't comment about who may have dropped off the potentially fraudulent forms. It's been previously reported that paid canvassing operations have occurred, and they include fraudulent signatures that they have so far caught. The byword here is caught. Like I said, the byword here is caught. How many other applications have not been caught? Today's announcement followed what officials in Pennsylvania's Bucks County said yesterday was a fake video circulating on social media of county election workers destroying ballots. Supposedly a fraudulent video of election workers destroying ballots. And across the country in Colorado's Mesa County, there were news reports of another isolated incident and an investigation already underway for alleged voter fraud concerning about a dozen ballots in Mesa County, Colorado. And like I said, today there has been found massive voter fraud in California. And that voter fraud is now under investigation. And this too is criminal. How many more reports are we going to find out about? Or maybe we won't find out about. As we have previously seen in the 2020 election, when ballots somehow appeared in the middle of the night, showing up at a registrar of voters office somewhere around the United States. That happened numerous times. I personally have seen video of trucks and also vans showing up with massive amounts of boxes being unloaded from the trucks and vans in the back of the registrar of voter offices. Yet, I have been told when I have run voter election offices, polls, that no votes should be brought to the elector's office after 10 p.m. All vote counting starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Only the news media has been putting out information after the polls close. The news media. And now the Democrat Communist Party is already committing fraud. How many more times are we going to see it or not see it? Is it going to happen behind our backs in order to steal this election? Again, we are now 12 days out from the election, and we're already seeing issues with ballots. And these are the ones we found out about. And that doesn't stop there. Today, another former model, a woman, came forward to accuse Trump of sexual misconduct. How many more times is this going to occur? It happened before 2016 and it's happening again now. Fraudulent. When the Democrat Communist Party brings up false allegations. Yet another woman, Stacey Williams, has accused Trump of sexual misconduct, adding to a list of more than a dozen women who have accused the former president of inappropriate sexual behavior. Just one more thing that President Trump has to defend himself for. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it. It has never been proven. Kamala Harris said this week that President Trump is a fascist. She was a fascist. She's been a fascist herself through her own actions. The real fascist is Kamala Harris. I believe she's been quoting former Chief of Staff to Trump, former General Kelly. Former Chief of Staff Kelly this week has come forward calling Trump a fascist and accusing President Trump, of wanting to be Hitler. Trump's campaign has denied the allegations and accused Kelly of fabricating the comments about President Trump. It's still happening, guys, and it's going to happen. This weekend, we're going to hear more and more allegations about President Trump. we're still going to hear of allegations of voter tampering, ballot tampering, and fraudulent ballots being put into the system. Because the Democrats are scared. The Democrats are scared of losing this election. And now, Joe Biden has come forward and said he is mad. That he is mad at the Democrat Party for keeping him out of the election, for putting up Harris, his own vice president. Folks, let me tell you something. The more and more I look into Harris, the more and more bad things I find out. We talked about some of those last night, and we're going to continue covering those in the days to come. Harris is a fraud. I found out more information today, and I'm going to let you know about some of that now. Harris claimed to be an Attorney General in California, and prior to that, an Attorney General in San Francisco County, California. What I found out today is appalling. Harris said that she prosecuted hundreds of cases of people, mostly black men, that committed crimes. That committed high crimes in her opinion. Those high crimes were charges of possession of marijuana. Well, I found out today there's only one case. Harris claims there were hundreds of cases that she prosecuted. There is only one case on the books that Harris was a primary attorney general on the case, a primary prosecutor on the case. One case. Harris herself is a fraud. She's a fraud. She should have been found out when she ran for the Senate in California. But again, what are we calling California? California. California does not want anybody to know what has been going on in California. And we're finding out that California has been covering up Harris and who knows how many others, including their governor, Governor Newsom. I was the first person that called the California governor scum, and I changed his name to Newsom. Then somehow President Trump found out about it. I don't care. Trump can call him Newsom as long as he wants. But I believe I was the first person that came up with that name, because that is exactly what Newsom is. Scum. And yes, I would love for Newsom to come after me, because I would love to rub his nose in it. I would love to rub Newsom's nose in it. Now, I have some other good things to talk about. For example, this. Yesterday, President Trump was in Vegas. Prior to him going to a rally in Vegas, he went to a Cuban restaurant. Here he is seen at the restaurant. Notice the sign in front of him off to the side. The sign shows President Trump with a sombrero. In a video I saw yesterday evening, President Trump was moving forward through the crowd. And when he got to the other side of the wall that you see off to the side of him, it showed the restaurant packed with people. And Secret Service ahead of him looking the crowd over. President Trump is getting crowds of Cubans. He's getting crowds of Hispanic people that want him in office. Even though the Democrat communists have brought 20 million people into California from all around the world. The people from Mexico, Central America, and South America, and even Cuba and Haiti want President Trump elected. They want him elected. And this may be a good thing. This may be a good thing. I want to acknowledge Canadian Patriot One, my buddy Dave, from over near Quebec, Canada. Dave said he used to think that the cocaine that was found in the White House was Hunter Biden's cocaine. But now we are beginning to wonder whether it was actually Kamala Harris's. During the past week or so, Kamala Harris has appeared in public at town halls, her interview with MSNBC, and in other places, including in front of Anderson Cooper, slurring her words and using her word salad frequently, not even making any kind of sense. This kind of postulation by Kamala Harris is typical of drug users. So it is my opinion that Kamala Harris is on drugs. And I'm not the only one that believes that fact. Fact. Incredible. Incredible. But the steal is on. The steal is already happening. Okay? There are videos all over the internet. Videos all over the internet that are showing voter theft and election theft by the Democrat communists. The steal is on. It's only started now. We talked about October surprises already. Guess what? The October surprises have already started. And I have a feeling that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Now I want to show you something that's come to my attention today. Here is a photo of Anderson Cooper when he was on the air with CNN from Florida during Hurricane Milton in Florida. He was wearing waders out there in the water. You notice the grass behind him. It's not grass, it's actually bushes blowing in the wind. The wind was still pretty violent there in Florida when he was out in the water. But what you ought to know is where his cameraman was. His cameraman was standing in about 2 inches of water. Let me show you another photo from Milton with Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper, Thursday night turning into Friday when that hurricane hit Florida. Anderson Cooper was hit with a Trump sign that was being blown about in the wind. Anderson Cooper was seen being hit with a Trump sign in Florida. Isn't this ironic? Isn't this ironic? Yesterday, Miss Harris, after having avoided being seen in public since last weekend, taking Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. Yesterday she appeared on a stage with Anderson Cooper from CNN doing a CNN town hall. Anderson Cooper gave her softball questions, which most of them Kamala Harris refused to answer, using her word salad, literally dancing around the stage, cackling, using her fake laugh. At no time during her supposed town hall did Harris ever answer a question from Anderson Cooper. And even Anderson Cooper was saying there's no way in heck that she's going to win this election legally. There's no way in heck that Kamala Harris is going to win this election legally. And other news outlets are saying the same thing. Other news outlets are saying the same thing. And yet here on YouTube, I keep seeing more Kamala Harris advertisement than I've ever seen. I'm not seeing as much President Trump advertising here on the commie part of YouTube. But I'm seeing more and more commercials for Kamala Harris. It's incredible. It's incredible. My buddy Don Patoka, again, a man I trust greatly, a very dear friend of mine, is here in the chat. He says, "Homie no watchy commie net news." I agree. I refuse to watch it myself. Incredible. Incredible. Sheila Dean is here in the chat saying, "Good evening, beautiful people." Thank you, Sheila. Yes, we are indeed having beautiful people here in the chat and beautiful people that are watching this program. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Now I've been on the air talking about what's going on with our nation that's going to affect the world. I want to talk about something else before I get into earthquakes. And yes, we have had our share of earthquakes today. I want to ask everybody to stick around. I know there's already some people that have left our air here. They came on the air watching what we had to say, or at least seeing the national anthem being sung by the United States Military Army Barbershop Quartet. I want to ask everybody to stick around. Don't leave this channel. We need you here. YouTube has several algorithms that they use. Several analytical factors figure into whether YouTube is going to allow anybody else on YouTube to see this program. One of them is the number of people that give us thumbs up. I'm going to ask everybody here before you leave tonight to give us a thumbs up. It's very important. Number two, I need you to also make sure you stay here throughout the entire program. YouTube looks at many algorithm factors. Number one, the number of people that are watching this program. Number two, the amount of time you watch this program. Number three, the number of thumbs up that you give us. So please, folks, stick around and make sure you thumbs up this program all over the place. We need those numbers. Now, we also need some other numbers. YouTube continues to unsubscribe people from the channel. Yesterday, when we started this program, we had 5,774 subscribers. As of airtime tonight, YouTube has unsubscribed 6 people. Subscribers were down to 5,759. YouTube continues to unsubscribe people. I'm going to ask you now, please, folks, if you're watching or listening to this program, please subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe to this channel, also hit the notification bell. There is a little bell icon right next to the subscription button. Click on that. When you click on that icon, that little bell icon, a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. But be advised, YouTube is a communist organization. They're being run by the FBI through the Biden administration. They're censoring our program, and they're censoring you as well. You may not be notified when we come on the air because YouTube is not notifying everybody. I'm going to notify you right now as I have in the past. During the weekday, we usually are on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Today it was just after 6:30 Eastern Time when we came on the air. Second, we have a lot of things we need to cover. Again, we want you to stay here for our entire program. Now, we also appear here on this program sometimes at odd hours. The middle of the night or the first part of the morning. That is when there is something big to cover, a major story, when people's lives are in danger. So if you see us coming on the air at any time, note this. There is a very good reason we'll be on the air. There is always a very good reason we're on the air. We've covered major earthquakes. We've covered major storms, including hurricanes, tornadoes. I've been to many hurricanes after the fact. I've also been at tornadoes after the fact, including in Joplin, Missouri. After the tornado hit Joplin, Missouri, I was in Salt Lake City. I had done at least two that I remember, two different disaster drills in Missouri. I was asked to come down to Joplin to assist them in helping find people, helping locate people after the tornado, and helping them also recover their town. During the Joplin tornado, it destroyed their hospitals. Before I left Salt Lake to go to Joplin, Missouri, they asked me to call doctors and nurses that I knew and ask those people, those doctors and nurses, to also fly to Joplin, because some of their doctors and nursing staff had also been killed. Now, folks, I will always do that. I will always be available to my fellow man. I will always be available to cities, counties, and states that I've been in after disasters are over or during disaster drills. I was there after Joplin. I was there after Hurricane Katrina. I've been putting out information after Hurricane Sandy in New York because a friend of mine was there. And I was putting out information that was passed on from my friend that was helping people get money from FEMA and the United States government to help their families recover after the Hurricane Sandy hit. My buddy Dave, some of you that are on Facebook, you'll see my buddy Dave pop up. This is a different Dave than Canadian Patriot 1. He's also on Facebook. My other buddy Dave and I are former police officers. My buddy Dave was a police officer in Denver when I arrived. When I was in San Diego, I was a field training officer for new police officers coming out of the academies. When I arrived in Denver, I'd been a cop for about 15 years. When I was in Denver, Dave was my field training officer when I arrived in Denver. Every police officer that works in any county or city has to go through field training to make sure they learn the cities, the counties where they live in. I was with Dave about a week or so. I learned my patrol areas very thoroughly, and Dave released me for field training, where I was on my own. And I also became a field training officer. Dave also followed me through disaster drills. One of the first disaster drills that Dave and I went on was over in Colorado. Then we moved on to Missouri and down into Louisiana and Texas and Washington State. My buddy Dave Pierce and I worked the first disaster drill for Cascadia coming. We worked the first Cascadia disaster drill back in, I believe it was 2005. Since then, there have been 4 more disaster drills in the Cascadia region. Folks, these are going to continue because we are trying to save people's lives. We are trying to save people's lives, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Now, you guys are talking about President Trump being in New York City at Madison Square Garden on Sunday afternoon. Madison Square Garden has already been sold out. So anybody showing up at Madison Square Garden will be standing room only, either inside or outside of Madison Square Garden. I've personally never been there. I've been by there but never been in the arena. Folks, President Trump is very popular. And it's very possible that President Trump will walk away with this election, but not before the Democratic communists try to steal it. Now, many of you have already voted. You said that in the chat, and I've already talked to several of you. We need you to get out and vote. We need to have you get out and vote. Like I said, there's been massive voter fraud. There's been massive voter fraud that has occurred. We need you to get out and vote. We need you to get out and vote. It's more important now than ever before. This is more important now than ever before. We need you to get out and make sure you vote. And we need to have you take 5 to 10 more people to the polls with you. Take 5, 10, or even more than that to the polls with you. We need you to get out and vote. This is of the utmost importance. Get out and vote. Please, get out and vote. Now, this is not the first time we're going to talk about this, nor will it be the last. Get out and vote. I need you to pass this program on to other people that you come in contact with. Now, I'm not going to say anything that's going to be embarrassing to you, your family, or other people. But we need you to pass this program on. We need you to make sure you tell other people about it. Tell your family and your extended family. Tell your neighbors and friends about our program. Tell the people you associate with on social media. And we need to also have you share it with the people you work with. We'd appreciate that very much. Now, yes, we've had earthquakes. I'm going to tell you we've had earthquakes literally around the world. But more than anything, we've had some earthquakes in California. We've had a swarm of earthquakes in California. Okay? This swarm, there's actually been several swarms. One has been around Furnace Creek, California. This is showing Johannesburg, California. This is just south of Ridgecrest. South of Ridgecrest. Ridgecrest also got hit. Johannesburg, Southern California, got hit with a 4.61 earthquake. A 4.61 earthquake. And it's not the only place. Furnace Creek also. Right here. I want you to see where these earthquakes are occurring. Look closely. Notice this area is where craters are. Where volcanoes have erupted in the Mojave Desert. This is Furnace Creek. Furnace Creek, California. It's not the only place that has happened. Also, another 4.71 happened out here in Stovepipe Wells, California. Notice the swarm of earthquakes here. A large swarm of earthquakes all over Southern California, over here in the Mojave Desert. Large number of earthquakes. Now, for the most part, these were all moderate earthquakes, 4.0 to 4.9. 4.0 to 4.9. But some of these earthquakes were all lesser tremors, 1.0 to 1.9 tremors. Yes, there have been our share of 2.0, 2.9 as well. And even a couple 3.0, 3.9 earthquakes. Now, I also need to tell you this. USGS has also downgraded some of these quakes. I've done an investigation after some of these quakes started hitting. We have a dear lady who is, I believe, on this chat today. Sleeping Volcano. She posted this on one of the Facebook Messenger groups that I belong to. The group was started when I first started broadcasting some 5.5 years ago. She posted some of these earthquakes earlier today on that earthquake and volcano group. I immediately saw that early this morning and I went to investigate. And I found out some of these earthquakes here were 5.5 and 5.6 earthquakes. They were drastically downgraded. Drastically downgraded. Incredible. But like I said, you need to look closely at where these earthquakes were. Look closely where these earthquakes were. Look at all these craters near the bottom of this photograph. This is volcano country. As we've stated on previous programs, volcanoes worldwide are recharging. Volcanoes worldwide are recharging. This area near Stovepipe Wells is volcanic. Furnace Creek is also volcanic. The Ridgecrest area is also somewhat volcanic, although we do have some earthquake fissures there. Some earthquake faults. So some of them over by Ridgecrest may be earthquake related. But here I believe some of these earthquakes here are volcanic related. Magma beneath the surface. Okay? Do you guys have any questions about this? Does anybody have any questions about any of these earthquakes here? You guys are still talking about voting and everything, and I appreciate that. Renee Seppi said she started not to vote after hearing what happened in Texas and Georgia. But she went and voted anyway. She She says there's no way that her voice is not going to be heard and counted. Renee, I totally back that up. Make sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that your voice is heard. Make sure your voice is heard. We cannot allow the Democrat communists to continue doing what they're doing. It's one thing to call President Trump names, sticks and stones. It's one thing to lie about him. But it's a complete another to commit criminal acts in order to get the Democrats into office. And I'm calling a spade a spade. It's not just Joe Biden. It is not just Joe Biden. We're talking about Kamala Harris being a criminal. And I believe she's a criminal. She lied about getting into office as an Attorney General. She lied as an Attorney General to have Biden pick her for the office of Vice President of the United States. Then the Democrat Communist Party picked her to oust Biden out of office. They picked Kamala Harris to become the President of the United States. The Democrat Communist Party committed a coup. It's never ever happened in the United States until now. A coup. A coup throwing out a sitting president. Throwing out a sitting president from office. And it's no wonder that Joe Biden is furious. It's no wonder that Joe Biden is furious today. He has a right to be. He has a right to be mad. Joe Biden is furious at Harris for going over to Michigan and trying to get Arab Americans to vote for her, Islamicists to vote for her. It's incredible. Biden is angry over Democrat leaders wavering their support from him to Kamala Harris. It came out today that he's mad. He's furious. He's furious. It's incredible what they're doing. Now, I understand that Joe Biden has lied to the American public before. He's lied to Ukrainian leaders when he wanted an attorney general in Ukraine to be fired before he was going to get Obama to give Ukraine money. And when that happened, Obama got paid off handsomely. The Obama crime family, not the Obama crime family, the Biden crime family got paid off handsomely. And when Ukrainian leaders said, how can you say that Obama's going to give us money? He's the president, not you. Biden said that he had Obama in his back pocket. Yes, he did get money transferred from the United States back then when he was vice president. Money transferred from the United States taxpayer to Ukraine. And it's been going on ever since. It's been going on ever since. Biden's furious. Yes, Biden should not be president now. He should not ever have been put in that position. But on the same token, neither should Kamala. Kamala is an embarrassment to the system. But Biden is even more of an embarrassment himself. The United States of America has never elected a woman president. And I don't think that Kamala will ever be elected now. There's too many things that have been happening. And then, on Monday, Kamala said she wasn't going to go to work because she was exhausted. And then the puppet master came out. Puppet Master Obama came out and attended 3 rallies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, extolling Kamala's virtues. Obama has been the puppet master for years now. He first in 2016 wanted Hillary elected president, pulling the strings then for Hillary to become president. When it was found out that Trump had won, Biden did his darndest to make sure Trump would not enter the Oval Office. And Obama and Hillary lost. Hillary called all kinds of names for President Trump. She said President Trump lied. No, he did not. Hillary's even killed people. Hillary and Bill Clinton have killed people. 50 people that have been found dead as a result of the Clintons. And yet, they put up Hillary to run against Trump, and Hillary lost. And even then, what did Hillary do? She had her own computer server up in Colorado. That was illegal. Hillary was the Secretary of State for the United States under Obama. She was not to have her own server. That was against the law. She was only supposed to be using the United States government servers. And yet she had her own in Colorado. And she covered that up. Then, when Biden came into office, and even before that, there was the Hunter Biden computer system, the Hunter Biden laptop. And Hillary tried to help Hunter Biden to cover that up. And that was covered up for a while. And there were also other people that came up after that. Other people that came up after that. They were affiliated with Hillary. And even a FBI director. Remember him? Comey. Comey was paid off by the Democrat communists. He and the assistant director of the FBI were found out to be in Hillary's back pocket. And Trump fired them. Fired them handily. And yet we're supposed to look the other direction. We're supposed to look the other direction. Really? Incredible. NCWQ Worldwide News Disaster Explorer has been here most of the evening with us. She has to go tend to her sick grandbaby. She's not feeling well, and all of her kids are not feeling well either. God bless you, Becky. We appreciate you being here. Have a good night. And we hope your whole family are going to get better soon. Thank you for being part of our family. We also appreciate you so much, and your family as well, to help support us being here. Canadian Patriot One says he hopes that Trump jails her this time. I also hope that's the case as well. But that's another thing. Kamala and Joe Biden are worried that Hillary will come after them. They've said as much. They are scared to death that the Trump administration will come after them. And they come out and told the people that. They've told the American people to make sure that Trump would not be elected. Because if he gets elected, Trump will come after them. And quite frankly, Trump may come after them during the first 24 hours or so, after he takes office on January 20th. I hope that's the case. I honestly hope that's the case. It's incredible what these crazy people have gotten away with. And they cannot be allowed to continue. They cannot be allowed to continue. Okay? I'm there with you. Now, Canadian Patriots here in the chat with us, he's saying now Israel is hitting Iran. We all need to be prepared and always aware of our own safety and security at all times. We need to have a higher state of awareness of us and our surroundings. Israel has been seen as going to hit Iran. If Israel is bombing Iran at this time, it is high time they do it. Now, I've been told by my sources within Israel that Israel will not be going after the oil fields of Iran, but they will be going after the nuclear facilities of Iran to stop Iran from having the BOMB and to stop Iran from going after the United States and Israel as they have in the past. I believe Israel will also attack Iran's airfields, take out their communications and control facilities. That is usually the first thing a nation does when it goes into another nation's territory. That's what the United States did when we attacked Iraq. We took Iraq's communications and command and control facilities. Then we went after the head of Iraq, and we got him. And he hung for his crimes. He hung for his crimes. Do I think that this is going to happen with Hillary and Hillary and Biden and lapping hyena Kamala? Possibly. Possibly. But I do not think we will see Kamala or Biden hang. Number one, Biden is an old man. Yesterday it was said that Kamala was 60 years old and it was her birthday yesterday. Do I think we're going to hang Kamala? I doubt it. I very much doubt it. Will something else happen? Probably. Kamala could be sentenced to jail. Biden could also be sentenced to jail. He's already on his last days anyway. Biden has got dementia. He might also have that other aging disease where he may not make it. And that's possible. That is entirely possible. I believe that Kamala might go down and go to jail. I believe that the Biden administration, his aides and other underlings, may go to prison instead of Biden. I don't believe Biden has always been the man to go after. I believe it's been Obama and his aides. I believe it's been Obama and his aides have been in charge. I believe that. Obama should go to jail. Obama lied about his involvement in this country. Obama should never have been president of this country. He lied about who he was. He should never have been allowed to be president. And even then, he violated the people's trust. And as a result, he's put this country in great peril. He's put this country in great peril. And as a result, he should be going to jail. And what he's been doing with everybody else is appalling. Appalling. It should never have been allowed to occur, yet it has. He's been the puppet master putting Biden in office. He's been the puppet master of Kamala and removing Biden from power. So he ought to be going to jail. My buddy Don is calling Obama Big O. Big O is a plant. Yes, he's a plant, but he should be going to jail. He has known what he has been doing. He has known what he's been doing. Knowledge is power. And Obama should be going to jail for what he's done. He should not be allowed to continue, not now, not ever. Can you say not ever? Yeah. I believe not now and not ever. Period. Should not be allowed. Harris also should not be allowed. It's got to stop. It has to stop. The violation of law also needs to stop. We have seen these people gather power. Money is power. They have allowed the elites of this world to try to take control of the United States government. They have allowed the United Nations to come in here and gain control. Yes, the United Nations has been calling out the United States and saying how wrong we are and trying to help destroy the U.S. Constitution. Kamala, Biden, and Obama have been tearing apart this Constitution since they've been in office. We talked some about it yesterday. I will still talk about it in days and weeks to come. Trying to destroy the Constitution. Brothers and sisters of the Emergency Management Associates here, our Constitution was divinely inspired. Our Constitution was divinely inspired. I said that now, and I'll say it. I've said it in the past. Our Constitution was divinely inspired. We need to make sure the United States of America is not going to go away. Not now, not ever. Have I made myself clear? Our government was inspired from Heavenly Father. Our founding fathers were inspired of God. Our Constitution is not just a piece of paper that you can throw away. Other constitutions throughout the world have been inspired from the Constitution of the United States of America. I believe that. I know it to be true. I know that to be true, like I know my own wife, my mother, my father. Okay? I know that. And yet those three people that I just mentioned were trying to throw this Constitution under the bus. Throw the American people under the bus, including that dirtbag that Kamala Harris picked as her vice presidential running mate. Waltz is a known communist. Waltz is a known communist. Yes, he's violated people's rights in Minnesota. Signing a law into action, putting feminine hygiene products in locker rooms, male locker rooms, male restrooms. What kind of idiot governor does that? What kind of idiot governor does that? I believe Waltz came from Obama. Obama using Waltz for control. My opinion, for what it's worth. I don't trust Waltz. I don't trust Obama. I just don't trust Biden. And I do not trust Kamala any further than I can throw either of them. I don't. And I don't believe any of you should either. I would enjoy it if you would share this program with other like-minded people. Let them know what we're talking about. Show them the proof of what I've been saying. Show them the proof of what I've been saying. There's plenty of news out there to back up what I've been talking about. Plenty of truth out there. Please share that. Please share that. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Everything that I've told you about so far, I've vetted. Nothing goes on Emergency Management Associates Air here on YouTube without me checking it and double checking it. I vet everything. I absolutely refuse to put anything on the air that's not truthful. I refuse. And when I've made mistakes, I've owned up to those mistakes as well. I've told you all that I've been sorry in the past if I've made a mistake. And I will always do that in the future, I guarantee that. I guarantee that. I promise you truthfulness of what we're saying. I will always do what you need to have done. I will always tell your families and your loved ones the truth. I'm here to help protect you. I'm here to put out truthful information about emergency preparedness as well. Now, does anyone have any questions about emergency preparedness that you want to have talked about tonight? Does anybody have questions about emergency preparedness that you want to have answers for tonight? I told you this week that I was going to take questions and answers. That I was going to share everything with you tonight, and I will. Now, I just found out something else here. This just came through my news loop here. Actually, there's two things. Earlier today, the Washington Post said that they were not going to endorse Kamala Harris for President of the United States. For the first time in history, the Washington Post will not be supporting the sitting president or the vice president. They're not going to endorse Kamala, Biden, or anyone else. They're not going to endorse Biden or Kamala Harris. Now, something that just came out. China has tried to hack the phones of Trump and J.D. Vance. The campaign devices of the campaign devices of J.D. Vance and his people, his staff, were also reportedly attacked. And the Harris campaign devices also were reportedly attacked. Chinese operatives have tried to hack phones used by Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Kamala Harris, as well as other people connected to the campaign of Kamala Harris and other Democrats. U.S. officials today announced that. Investigators are working to learn what data the hackers might have accessed. The New York Times is reporting that it's not clear whether the attacks on the candidates' phones were successful, but it appears that the phones of staff members were compromised. Isn't that interesting? China has compromised the campaigners' cell phones and other devices. An FBI statement said that the hackers are affiliated with the Chinese government. The Associated Press says they have concern in the U.S. government, and it's high. Confidence is high. We are at least at a level 10, blinking red on China right now. Democrats on Capitol Hill were also mentioned as possible victims. The Trump campaign was notified this week and is awaiting the list of people who may have been targeted. Even without having access to the content, text, or calls that have been made, an adversarial nation could use state data about communications to select people in Trump's inner circle who might also be susceptible to influence efforts. American officials suspect that campaign hacking is part of a broader effort. China has long tried to hack information about U.S. technology, infrastructure, and corporate secrets. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. contended today that China opposes cyber attacks and is often a victim itself. The presidential elections are the United States domestic affairs. China has said that they have no intention and will not interfere in the U.S. election. Isn't that interesting? China has said that they will not interfere with the U.S. election. Yet was it not Hillary back in 2016 that said that Trump was a Russian operative, and that Trump was in the back pocket of the Russian government? Incredible, huh? Absolutely incredible. Incredible. Renee Seppi is asking, how would we prepare for nuclear war? I'll tell you this. Yes, there are things that we can do to prepare for nuclear war. Let me pull up my database about that. I have actually given talks on preparation for nuclear war and what we can do to help ourselves. It's been one of many topics that I've talked about, one of many topics that I've discussed with other people, one of the many topics that I've researched over the years. Let me pull up the information right here. Hold on a second. All right, let's see here. Let's see, which one do I want to pull up here? That's a good one, Renee. I appreciate that. That is a very, very, very good topic. One of the first things that you need to do is always start planning for any kind of nuclear event. One of the things that you need to talk about within your own families, or even prepare yourselves for, is making sure you get a Geiger counter. Getting a Geiger counter is going to be helpful to you. Why is that? It's almost as simple as this. And I hate to be flippant with simple. Okay? I actually did not mean to say simple. Okay? It goes deeper than that. Why would you need a Geiger counter or even a nuclear badge to assess how much radiation you've gotten, or even your children or family members have gotten? You can buy those little badges from the internet. Yes, they're a little bit costly. A Geiger counter that works is around $200, and the price goes up from there. Depending on what you get is going to depend on the quality of what it's going to do for you. But a Geiger counter is one of the first ways that you're going to protect yourself. Now, one of the things I've talked about in the past is sheltering in place. Sheltering in place. If you are sheltering in place and there's been any kind of nuclear accident anywhere near you, we've told all of you to have plastic tarps. We've told all of you to get duct tape. Take those tarps and put those around windows. Put those tarps around windows and duct tape those tarps against the walls. If you have air vents that leak outside or get fresh air from outside, you need to take pieces of plastic, cut thick plastic, and put those over the air vents in your home to make sure nuclear radiation doesn't come from outside into your home. Also, your doors. Take those plastic tarps and put them around your doors. In the event that any one member of your family or the people that are living with you are going to venture outside, make sure they have a way to get back indoors. You may have to take part of your house and tarp it off. Why do you want to tarp it off? One of the things you're going to want to make sure is that nuclear radiation from outside does not get into your house. If a member of your family needs to go outside, they're going to need to strip their clothes off and put them in a great big double-bagged trash bag, a black trash bag. Put their clothes in that trash bag and then seal those trash bags. Why do you want to do that? You want to make sure that any radiation from outside doesn't get into your house. And as soon as that person has stripped down and put their clothes, everything that they were wearing, in that trash bag and has sealed that trash bag, then that person needs to immediately go to a shower and wash that radiation off their body. Wash that radiation off their body. They should not be using really hot water either. Why? Because the vapor, the water vapor from that hot water could carry radiation out to your house. It could carry radiation out to the rest of your house. They should wash off with very lukewarm water, so the water vapor does not go out in your house. And all the water that they use needs to be washed down the drain, so the radiation is not in your house. Then and only then, they should put on clean clothes. Then and only then should they put on clean clothes. Then they should be checked for radiation. They should be checked for radiation. If they are still carrying radiation on their body after their shower, they need to be kept away from the rest of the house, away from the rest of the occupants of your house. Now, you may have to do this. You may have to do this. That's why it is so important, vitally important, that once you are in your house and you have sealed your house up against any radiation, any opening in your house that leads to the outside, including your fireplace, shut the damper in your fireplace so it will not allow any radioactive materials to get in your house. Then also put a plastic tarp or even a double tarp over that vent in your fireplace so that radiation does not come into your house. Okay? That's the best way to barrierize your house. You need to make sure your house is a fortress. You need to make sure your house is a fortress. Okay? The best thing to do is go underground if you have that possibility. There are people here within the sound of my voice tonight that have root cellars. That is probably the best place to go, is underground. Underground. And again, make sure the doorways to your root cellar have been tapped out with plastic tarps. Duct tape. Duct tape those plastic tarps in place. The ground itself can have radiation in it, but that dirt ground is a great source of venting to keep that radiation outside your root cellar. And having your root cellar there with fresh food may be your best bet for living. You may not be able to leave that root cellar for quite some time. It could be weeks, if not months. Why? Because the radiation continues to live on, even after the BOMB drops, or the other radiation in the area drops. Radiation has a half-life. The half-life of that radiation will determine how long that radiation will be valid. and you may need to stay in your house or underground for a time period. And even then, the ground itself will be radiating for a long time. You may have to take off your shoes once you've been outside, so your shoes don't carry radiation into the house. Okay? But having those little rad meters on your person, on your clothing may help you. They may help you. Okay? Arnold Smith's here in our chat saying Johnson Controls has that equipment. Johnson Controls does have that equipment. You can go to johnsoncontrols.com. I think it's .com anyway. Go to that site. I've been there many times. Go to that site and then look for radiation equipment. And they will have all that information. There are other companies that provide that same equipment. But I trust Johnson Controls immensely. Okay? I trust Johnson Controls immensely. Okay? Don Patoka says get a radiation dose tag. That's what I'm talking about. It's a little meter or a dose tag that you have on your clothing. Don't put it next to your belt. Put up higher on your body. Up higher on your body will allow that dose tag actually to get a better reading about the radiation that your body may have gotten. Okay? Do that. Silvermine says so one cannot use their well water either. That might not be such a good idea. Why? Because that well water could be exposed to the radiation as well. The radiation drops through the air, doesn't it? It works down through the well unless your well is covered up. Unless your well is covered up. Okay? Be very careful with your well water. That's why I've been talking about having water stored in your house. Storing water in your house. Don Patoga is talking about that dose tag, wearing it on your collar or your shirt pocket. The dose tags that I've worn on my police uniform shirt have been above my pocket. Okay? I've had my badge on my left side here. I've had my name tag over here, and my dose tag has usually been above my name tag on my police uniform. Okay? That's where I've worn that. Any other questions about surviving nuclear attacks? It's going to happen. At some point in time, that is going to happen. I'm promising you it's going to happen. Because some idiot from a rogue faction from Russia or China is going to bring a dirty bomb into the United States, and I believe it's already happened. They have just not ignited that bomb. I do not believe they've ignited that bomb. There are 3 nuclear briefcases out there. There are 3 nuclear device briefcases that are out there. And they have not been found. So some rogue nation may have those briefcases. Iran is one of those nations. Iran is one of those nations. Now, Canadian Patriot 1 is talking about potassium iodide capsules. Okay? Potassium iodine pills. You can buy those from pharmacies. You can buy those from pharmacies. But beware. Do not use them unless something big happens. Do not use those unless something major happens. There is no reason to take potassium iodine before it's absolutely necessary, because potassium iodine can harm your health. Potassium iodine can harm your health unless you know how much you should be taking. And even then, you may not or should not be even taking as much as they're saying that you should. Okay? Potassium iodine could also hurt you. I'm just saying. Everybody that I have ever spoken to, and yes, I have spoken to FEMA. Some of the FEMA representatives that I've spoken to have been righteous people. They have been good people. But not every FEMA representative do I trust. I just don't. And I think I've made my assessment correctly. I honestly believe I've made those assessments correctly. I've been around the block at least a few times. I am certified by FEMA in 37 different topics, 37 different preparedness fields. I've got the equivalent of a master's degree in FEMA education as an emergency manager. Now, yes, I've had these certifications for a very long time. And many of the certifications I've kept up with. And I retake their tests, I retake their classes. It's because I want to be of assistance to you and everybody else out there. I do not take my certifications lightly. I want to help protect you. I want to help you. That's why I have had the education that I have. They say I am an expert in my field. I don't necessarily say I'm an expert. I am very well versed in what's going on. Now, before you become overwhelmed by the prospect of learning everything you need to know, everything that you really need to know is to survive a crap hits the fan situation. You need to have other skills as well, because these other skills will also help you get to the point you need to be. Whether it's from a nuclear disaster or whatever it is. You need to have the following skills to help you when something happens. And I don't like using the SHIT word. I tend to call it the crap hits the oscillator. When the crap hits the oscillator. Okay? Or what is more commonly referred to as a disaster situation. A disaster situation. Okay? You need to remember those words. When the crap hits the oscillator or a disaster situation. A human needs shelter. You need shelter so you can fight another day. I've talked to you now how to protect your home in the event of a nuclear incident. You need to protect your family members. You need to protect your food that you saved for the war that's happening. I'm going to call it a war. Okay? You need water. You need shelter. You need food. You need warmth to survive. Now, I'm going to ask you to pick one of the 4 skills one at a time. I'm going to ask you to pick one of the 4 skills you need to know, one at a time. And we will be talking about each one of these skills. If you need help, give us a call here at Emergency Management Associates, and we will be glad to help you. Canadian Patriot 1 just said something I thought was a little bit funny. No, it was a lot funny. Dave, it was a lot funny. He says, we are all big oscillatory of yours, Brother Ron. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay? Now, think about this. I've already told you about how to protect your home. Excuse me. Turning your home into a shelter from radiation. Shelter building is another story. You may have one of the most expensive, sturdily built homes that are available. May have one of the most sturdily built tents that money can buy. But do you know how to put the tent up? Do you know how to put your tent up? Can you read the ground? Can you understand the ground? Why do you need to understand the ground? Where you plant your tent, where you pitch your tent will be very important. Why? Because you may be caught in a downfall. Rain pouring down all around you. If you pitch your tent in an area that's going to be flooded, you're going to be screwed. You want to make sure when you pitch your tent that it's up on high ground, number 1. Number 2, you want to build a moat around your tent. All the water that falls on your tent will go into that moat. Then, besides the moat, you need to have something else out there. A way to filter that rainwater away from your tent. Otherwise, you're screwed. The water's going to come in your tent and you're going to be screwed. Put a ground cloth over your tent. A ground cloth over your tent. Why? Because you're going to need another source to keep you dry. Even though your tent may say waterproof on it, it's not. You rub against that tent that says waterproof or that it is waterproof, guess what? You rub against your tent, you're going to get wet. Make sure you have a ground cloth over the top of your tent. That will help keep the rainwaters away from you. And make sure that ground cloth over your tent goes over your tent and far enough on the other side of your tent to keep you dry. What if there's nuclear radiation in that water? You definitely do not want it near your tent. That water should be directed away from your tent, away from your dwelling. Just like we put that tarp around your windows, your doorways, and even have a area at the entrance to your house where someone can come into your house from outside, strip off their clothes, put those clothes in a double bag, and then seal that bag off. You're going to want to keep that part of your home away from the radiation. And once that person has entered your home in that plastic area that you have sealed off from the rest of your house, send that person off to the showers. Okay? It's just like an astronaut going into the space station after they've been outside. There's an area of the space capsule or an area of the space station where they wait until the air pressure is built up in that area before they enter the rest of the space station. You should do the same thing in your home. You should do the same thing in your home. Okay? Now, no matter how crude your tent is, no matter how crude your tent is, it's important. Your tent is your shelter. Your shelter is very important. This skill alone will make you much more confident no matter where you are. Having a confident shelter is very important. Take a few minutes. Watch a few videos. Then practice the skills from those videos. Now, I've been saying this for a very long time when it comes to tenting and sheltering in place, and even helping protect your children and pets. Before you have to go out in the wilderness to try to survive, push your furniture back against the walls. Take your coffee table and anything else that's in your living room or your family room. Take that all out and open up that room and pitch your tent in that room. Pitch your tent in your home. Why? Why would I pitch my tent inside my home? I have children, don't I? Or maybe I have grandchildren or other family members, even pets. If you pitch your tent in your home, you're giving your family an opportunity to understand what it's like to live in a tent. Preparing your food inside the tent. Making sure your children, your grandchildren, and or your four-legged family members know what it's like to live in a tent. Your dogs and cats might not totally understand, but this is an opportunity for everyone to get to know what it's like to live inside the tent. Bring the dog beds inside your tent. Bring the dogs inside your tent. Bring your children inside your tent. Have games, have toys for your dogs and kids to keep them occupied during an emergency. And use your time inside the tent, inside your home, to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice, practice, practice. My buddy Don has talked about practicing. He's talked about practicing here on our chat. Practice makes perfect, doesn't it? Proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning prevents poor performance. When you get out to the wild, you're going to try to protect yourselves and to protect your shelter. Your family members must understand how important that shelter is going to be. Use this time to practice with your family. Practice your skills with your family. You should make this a very family-friendly entertainment time. A family-friendly, fun event. This is a time to practice and have fun. To get used to it. Get with your kids and grandchildren. Get with your four-legged family members. Let them help you build a natural fort. Let them help you build a natural fort that they can play in. The next thing you're going to want is to have a fire, a way to stay warm, a way to cook food, Fire may also help you keep bad things away from you. There is more to just building a fire than simply stacking wood or striking a lighter to tinder in your fire box. This seems like it's a no-brainer. This seems like it's a no-brainer to most people today. In this wonderful age that we live in, there are so many ways to start a fire. When I was a Boy Scout, we learned 3 basic ways to start a fire. Making a box fire, making a teepee fire, or just throwing some tinder together and lighting it. What happens if you just throw tinder into an area to light it? Yes, you may start a fire, but will that fire stay lit? Will it stay lit long enough to cook with? Will that fire stay lit long enough to keep you warm? Ask yourself those questions. Ask yourself those questions. When you put your tent in your house to practice what you're doing, if you have to use a tent permanently, you need a way to cook your food. You do not want to use a gas burner, a gas stove inside your home. If you use a camp stove inside your home, you're going to die of carbon monoxide poison. Someone's going to get sick. It could be your pets, it could be your children, or it could be you. Don't do that. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're doing. And besides that, Don Patoka just said it here in the chat, and I was just going to mention this. Fire can also advertise where you're at or what you're doing. You may not want to share your location with just anyone. You may not want your neighbors to know that you have a camp grill. You have a barbecue grill, or a way to start a fire. In my case, it's illegal. It's against the rules to have a barbecue inside our apartment complex. Yet I have one. And yes, after the hurricane went through, the power went out. I used our barbecue to cook with, not to barbecue with. I put pots and pans on that barbecue, and I used those pots and pans to cook with. That was my outdoor stove. At no time did I have an uncontrollable fire. Yes, I did have a fire, but it was completely controllable. I, besides that, told our then apartment manager that yes, I had it, but I was not going to use it unless there was an emergency. And yes, after the hurricane, it became an emergency, so we could have to cook and have food to eat. So that's what I did. I want all of you to assess where you're at in your preparedness realm and what you're doing and how you're going to prepare for any one incident, including a nuclear attack. Yes, it could happen at the drop of a hat. We have had nuclear B-52 bombers flying around our home here in North Carolina. There have been B-52 bombers flying around the central part of the United States. We've had B-52s flying up and down the coastline, west and east coastline of North America, including Canada and Alaska. One might wonder why. No, it's not just for practice. Those pilots and plane occupants are not just practicing. They know something that we may not. And you also should think about their being in the air means you need to also prepare for what may happen. Think about that. If you see those B-52 bombers flying up and down your coastline, or you see them multiple times circling your area, what should you be doing? You need to seriously be considering your preparedness levels and what you're doing. How many times have we asked you all to have food storage in your house? How many times have we asked you to have survival food if at all possible? Have packaged food. To have frozen food in your house. To have some way of keeping that food cold. Just like my wife and I did. We did it. And we did it adequately to survive. Yes, we did share some of our food with our elderly neighbors because they did not have adequate supplies. Now, they still don't know exactly how much supplies we have, and I'm not going to share that information, but I am encouraging them to get prepared. And now they are getting more prepared, at least more prepared than they were. And I'm encouraging each and every one of you to do the same. You do not, and I'm going to repeat this, you do not have to share all of the knowledge that you have. You don't have to share exactly how much food you have in your house or what kind of food that you have in your house. But you can encourage your neighbors to have a 6-month supply of food. You can encourage your neighbors to have a 6-month supply of food. 3 months, 6 months. You can encourage them to have a year's supply. You can encourage them to have camping type food as well. Or encourage them on how to survive in an emergency. Teach them. Teach them things that we've talked about here on EMA. That is what this program is for. You can encourage them also to watch this program. Even my insurance agent that came into my home about 3 weeks ago, when we last talked to her a year before that, I told her that I was an emergency manager. I told her, my wife and I told her, that I do an emergency preparedness podcast Monday through Fridays. And on Fridays we talk about emergency preparedness. That's because I want them, their family, mine, and everyone to be prepared. I don't tell you necessarily everything that I have in my home. Yes, I'm telling you that we are prepared. My wife and I are very prepared. We're going to keep prepared. We're going to stay prepared. Folks, I'm asking you to do the same thing. Diane Kelman says she has 4 Patriots and Survival Frog. I also have 4 Patriots and Patriots Foods. I encourage you all to try other kinds of preparedness foods. Yes, I have 4 Patriots, and I've shown you this before. I believe in 4 Patriots. I have a lot of food. I also have a lot of preparedness items. I encourage you to do the same thing. If you don't know much about 4 Patriots food, let me give you the telephone number that you can call. 1-800-607-0943. 607-0943. Or visit getmorefood.com. Visit getmorefood.com. And when you call that number, tell them that I asked you to call. Tell them Ron Tyler at Emergency Management Associates asked you to call. Tell them that I've been talking about 4 Patriots for years, and that I've been sharing this information with all of you. It's important. There is a reason I have a 3-day survival pack of food right here beside my desk. There's a reason. Because I share this information with the world. I want everybody to understand this and have the same kind of supplies that I have. Because I believe in preparedness, and I believe all of you should also. Okay? You need to think about this. You need to seriously think about what I'm saying. Renee Seppi says she uses Stealth Angel. Like I said, I don't really care what kind of food you have or where you get your supplies. I'm just caring that you do it. I am just caring that you do it. My friend Robert Lazar is here in the chat. He says, worldwide terror alert. Yes, we've been under a number of terror alerts. They're going to continue. These terror alerts are going to continue. The Biden-Harris administration have allowed over 30,000 terrorists from different countries into this country during the past 3.5 years. They've opened up the border. Now there are over 30,000 terrorists here in the United States. And I believe that number is probably growing every day. Okay? You need to be aware of it. You need to be prepared. Okay? Canadian Patriot 1 says, make sure you're well versed in preparedness. So when the time comes, you can be adequately staying calm. When everybody else is losing their minds, that you're staying calm and you're on your feet. And you're going to stay on your feet. And you're going to be able to make correct decisions when it comes time to make decisions. And not just correct decisions, but adequate decisions to keep your family and those you love alive. Robert Lazar is also saying keep your gas tank full. That is something we've been talking about for a very long time. My wife laughs every time I get the gas tank full. I don't allow the gas tank very often to get below half full. I call it half full, not half empty. But I fill the gas tank up on a regular basis. Because I don't want to be put in a situation where crap hits a fan and I can't leave. Or I can't get very far down the road. I don't want to break down. I don't want to break down. I don't want you either. Keep your gas tank full. Keep your car adequately prepared so it won't break down. I talked about this before the last hurricanes hit, and I'm always going to talk about it. It's not just hurricanes that you need to be prepared for. It's any kind of disaster that could hit, including nuclear war. And right now, this minute, we are 30 seconds away from nuclear war. We are closer now to nuclear war than we've ever been. I'm promising you that. President Trump has been saying that as well. But you'll never hear that out of Biden or Kamala Harris's mouth, or even Obama's. They won't tell you that because they don't want you to be prepared. But Ron Tyler is going to tell you this. Don Patoka's here in the chat, and he said, President Eisenhower said emergency plans are useless. Emergency planning is essential. Emergency plans are useless. but emergency planning is essential. Are you truly rhymed, primed, and planning? Okay? You need to do that. The pillars of preparedness: prayer, provisions, people, protection, and productivity. Prayer, provisions, people, protection, and productivity. Learn it. Learn it and remember it. Now, Renee Steppe said something very important, and I'm going to pass that on to you right now. Keep your scriptures with you. Keep your scriptures with you. I've got a set of scriptures downstairs in my living room that I refer to on a daily basis. I keep a set of scriptures in my bedroom, as my wife does as well. Read your scriptures. I keep a set of scriptures here in my bedroom, or not my bedroom, but my office. I keep a set of scriptures here in my office. I also have my scriptures on my phone here. You can have your scriptures on your device. There are different applications that you can have to keep your scriptures on your device. If you're interested, I can share that with you in a while, not today. Okay? Make sure you have scriptures with you at all times, even during the disaster. If you're going to bug out, make sure you have your scriptures with you. Okay? Make sure you have your scriptures with you. Okay? Do any of you have any questions about anything we said tonight? Do you have any questions that you may have for me right now? Okay? I've given you this opportunity to learn and be learned. I've been guiding you. I've been trying to help you. Now, Richard Smith also said something I believe is very important. He said music can also help you. Music can also help you. Both my wife and I have certain music that we keep on our phones. Not music that's just held together by the internet. We keep music downloaded on our devices. I have a tablet here next to me right now that has music downloaded on it. Both spiritual music and music that will lift us up. I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you to do the same. Diane Kelman is saying something else that I think is important. And I'm going to share that with you right now. Keep your favorite scriptures written down in your emergency folder. And mark them in your scriptures. Mark those in your scriptures, just like right here. This is a scripture that I shared with you last night. Philippians 1, verses 3, 4, and 5. One of my favorite scriptures that I share with all of you because I love you. I care about you. This is what Paul said to the Philippians in his first epistle. I'm sharing it with you because I believe it's true. Because I love you. Mark your scriptures, your favorite scriptures, in your scriptures. Mark your scriptures. Mark special lessons that you want to remember. Mark special lessons in your scriptures, excuse me, that you want to remember. Now, Diane Kelman says, don't laugh. Even adult coloring books that you can use colored pencils on. My wife and I have colored pencil coloring books here in our library here in the bookcase. You even have colored pencils over here on my desk, colored pencils in the bedroom, and colored pencils downstairs. Okay? Do you have questions? Do you have questions? Don't be afraid to ask. No question is dumb. The only bad question is one that's not given. The only dumb question is one that's not given. Now, Don Patoga also shared this with you, and I'm going to share it with you as well. I think it's important. There is a reason that today, and I have had it for quite some time, that I keep sharing this with you every day. I put it crossing the screen every day. Our address. Carol and I have gone to the post office every day or every other day for quite some time. We have not received even one card in 3 weeks. Not one card or letter in 3 weeks. I'm beginning to wonder whether it's even righteous to have a post office box. There was a time when we would get 2 to 3 letters every week from you guys. Yet rarely do we ever get any cards and letters. Carol and I would love to get cards and letters from you, so we would be seeing what you guys are doing, giving us ideas of what you're doing, making sure you're following what we're asking you to do, making sure you're prepared, sharing your thoughts and actions with us, what you're doing with your families and children, even your animals. Right behind me on my wall, I have some cards that Laura and John sent us from Oregon for horses. Laura also sent me a picture of a locomotive that I have on the wall behind me. Folks, I have kept every card and letter that you guys have ever sent me. There's one box of cards and letters in my closet here in my office. There's another box of cards and letters I have right beside our bookcase here. I have kept every card and letter that you guys have ever sent. Yes, we love cards and letters. I've also said that if you want, you can slip a donation inside your letter that you send to us, or inside the card that you send to us. We would love to see a donation to help us keep the lights on here and keep this program active. It would be very helpful. Having a post office box is expensive. It costs about $100 every 6 months. Quite honestly, if we don't start getting cards and letters on a regular basis, I'm going to close this post office box down. I've kept the box up so we can help you and you can help us. So please use that. Virginia says she sent a thank you card today, and we appreciate it, Virginia. We really do. Several others of you have also said that you're sending us cards and letters. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Now, folks, before I leave you tonight, yes, this is Preparedness Friday. Yes, I've talked to you about what's going on with our election. And everything that's happening now is going to happen continually, because the Democrat Communist Party is going to make sure that our lives are disrupted. And this is going to affect every country in the world. England, Scandinavia, and all of Europe. South America, Central America, Mexico. It's going to affect our relationship with Australia and New Zealand and Japan. Folks, we need to have our acts together. We all need to be prepared. That's why we have Emergency Management Associates on YouTube. That's why we've been doing this program for 5.5+ years. We want to make sure that you stay prepared, that you have the latest information that might affect you. That's why we're here. Now, I'm going back to Philippians chapter 2 here. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship in the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem each other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Think about this. Everything we've talked about tonight is right here. It's backed up with Scripture. I want to make sure you're prepared. I want to make sure you are prepared. Don Patoka says this every night in our chat. Freedom is not free. It takes all of us. Think strategy with experience. Apply logic. Prior prayer and proactive proper preparation. That will prevent poor performance. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank our mods. Without our mods, I would not even be able to do this program. I want to thank all of you here for also sharing information with me. Before I came on this program, I checked our email, rltnspdema@gmail.com. I noticed that several of you have sent me emails, and I appreciate that. I'm going to continue to answer your questions. I'm going to continue giving you information that you might need to help yourselves and your families. That's because I give a darn. I love each one of you. We come on the air Monday through Friday, starting between 6 and 7 o'clock every Monday through Friday. Yes, occasionally we come on the air in the middle of the night or the middle of the day. But we always come on the air Monday through Friday between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. On Saturdays, we usually take Saturdays off. But occasionally, even on Saturdays, we come on the air. I come on the air on Sunday at sometime around 12 noon. With the Sunday school class I call Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. That's why I call it Come Follow Me. It's a Sunday school class where we study the gospel of Jesus Christ. And Sunday, we're going to be talking about what Christ quoted in Isaiah chapters 52, 53, and 54. Join us Sunday for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, right here on this channel. I enjoy talking about God. I enjoy talking about Jesus Christ. God is our Heavenly Father. Jesus Christ is our Savior and His Son. I love them. I love them like I love you. Brothers and sisters, I care about you. If anything else happens tonight or tomorrow, we will be coming back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available, and possibly even Sunday afternoon after our Sunday school class. God be with you until we meet again. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, folks. Please know that I love you. Carol loves you. We all love you. We will talk to you later. Good night, everyone. Much love.